Exactly. And welcome everyone who's joined us this morning on this Saturday morning educational call with Mannatech. And as you heard, our special guest speaker wasn't able to make it today, but I actually think that's your lucky day because it's meant that our Sharon Whiteman has jumped in there and is going to give you a deeper look at the lifestyle option with our Mannatech business. Now, Sharon is a Gold Presidential Director with Mannatech. Now, what does that mean? It actually means she has helped hundreds, if not thousands of people, and certainly thousands of people on this educational forum in regard to education on the Mannatech nutritional technologies or the Mannatech business and lifestyle opportunity. This morning, again, we're focusing on the lifestyle. A little bit about Sharon Brown. She had first-hand education in business with Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. You may have heard of them. They're international educators in the area of business and investment. And that was for almost a decade during the 90s. And it's then that she learned more about the strategies of mindset and action, what action is required to be financially discerning. You're going to hear more about that in her presentation this morning. Sharon is very passionate about making sure that others have the same opportunity for financial education. She's a consummate educator and communicator, and she's provided business education via these weekly global conference broadcasts for, I would say, over 15, maybe 18 years now. And she has interviewed hundreds of leading business educators since the early 2000s. And Sharon says we have to commit to making the world a better place. And I know that's truly in Sharon's heart. And a home business with Mannatech, she believes, is the perfect choice. So over to you, Sharon. I look forward to the presentation this morning.
Thank you, Dana. That's very kind and gracious of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, as Dana just indicated. I do want to acknowledge Diana and Gary, Diana Hunter and Gary Knapp, who partnered with me for about 16 years in doing this. And I can speak for myself, but I'm sure that they would agree that there's also selfish intent in being here. I'm blessed every week, and it's so inspiring to see people coming together with a common mind, a common mission, and such a positive mission. It really is a privilege to hang out in this community and be part of it. We've all got each other's back. So today our topic is, and I want to just give a disclaimer. So I get regular slow internet signs. I've done everything I can to fix that during this COVID time when everybody's sharing bandwidth. So my apologies in advance if there's any lack of quality in this recording. So this slide in front of us right now is something that's really dear to my heart. I'm often saying on this call, I have many passions. It's, which is, I guess, one of the amazing parts of being alive, isn't it? And it's what's important right now, though, for this next 30, 40 minutes is you. So what we're really thinking about is what is important to you. I'm going to share a bit about myself, a bit about my journey, but I want you to be thinking about you, your situation, what your passions are, where there might be gaps in your life, and even considering the people around you that are near and dear to you. Oh, you can see here, hopefully you can see that slide. I can't see all of it. But ultimately, right now, what's in the way of you having everything that you dreamt for in your life? I know this is a really destabilizing time right now. Currently, we're May 2020, and people have been turned upside down in their lives at home. But it's also given us a time to reflect, hasn't it? So just take a look at these things. What's missing for you in your life? Is there something that you've always wished you had, or is there stressors? What's in the way? What do you want, and what's in the way of having what you want? So for me, quite a few of these, I ticked quite a few boxes when I was considering partnering with Mannatech. and definitely what's really powerful for me today, some 22 years later after my first commitment to this great company, is the ability that I've had to dump my 9-to-5 job. I've been able to, well, sometimes it doesn't feel like I have more time for my children. And sometimes they don't feel like that because I work from home. I definitely have the opportunity and the privilege to work around them and their schedules. I'm able to prioritize that. I also am so grateful for the safety net. And this definitely was a plan B for me. And it was actually my plan A, but at the time I was first introduced, I wasn't thinking of anything like this. So I definitely at that time, I'll tell you a bit more about my story in a sec, but I definitely was in a difficult situation health-wise and financially, and I felt stuck. You know, I was in a transition in a way for my next mission. So when I was introduced to Mannatech, it was 22 years ago, and I had a very fatiguing illness. I was unable to work at the time. I was on a disability support payment from the government, not something that was sort of one of my high achieving times or my risks or my goals for myself rather. But obviously I'm very grateful that we live in this country where that was possible for me when I had done everything I could. I have a critical care nursing background. I have 3 certificates in critical care. And at the time, I'd done everything that doctors had to offer me. And it was very frustrating because it was an illness that we couldn't find the cause for, but I was very debilitated. So once my experience is an excuse to any doctors and practitioners out there. But in my experience, when medicine today is up against something that's unknown, quite often the patient gets blamed, and that's what I was a victim of. So they're offering me antidepressants, and I knew that in my heart of hearts that wasn't what it was. Fast forward, I met some women at a dinner party, and they offered me some education about this wellness technology. I was highly skeptical. I would say I was probably 200% closed. I was suspicious. Why are you marketing this to me at a dinner party? If this is so amazing, why didn't I already know about it? I know a lot about health, etc. was going through my mind. And but they said a simple thing to me. And they said, listen, it's just education. If it makes sense to you, great. We can talk about more. If not, then there's no harm done. And I thought, wow, I had considered myself to have a sense of integrity, and I couldn't actually dismiss something without reviewing. And that made sense to me. So I did. And I remember listening in the car at that time, and it was like a light bulb moment. And my whole life kind of changed in that moment, really. I didn't realize it then, but on reflection, it did. And you know what else, kind of unrelated to this topic today, but I now never dismiss something without reviewing it. I have such, it was a big lesson for me that I would, imagine this. How many people are out there right now praying for a solution? Here's something that will be a solution for their situation, whether it be their health or, a lot of people are wanting to look at their immune system and make sure their nutritional status is up to speed and par to be in the best potential. The healthiest way to stay healthy is to have a healthy immune system, isn't it? And people are praying for that. People have lost income. People have lost hope. People are praying. And I can look back now and realize that I had been praying and I was expecting it to come in a certain way. So your prayers might be answered by someone in a way that you don't expect it. And I definitely learned a lesson that I don't dismiss without review now. And I catch myself pretty quickly if I've unconsciously done so. So fast forward to today, it took me about 18 months to really consider even the business as an option for me, even though it was as obvious as ever. As Diana said in the beginning, I had the privilege to work with Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. They are financial literacy educators. They wrote, Rich Woman, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, and a whole host of educational pieces to help everyday people like myself learn that we could do more than go to work at a job and expect to be financially secure. Nothing against jobs at all, especially if they're your mission and you're passionate about it, But if it's not bringing you in the money, the lifestyle you want, then there might be other options to enhance your financial aspect. And that's what we're going to be talking today. So I've gone on to now partner on all levels with Mannatech, with wellness technology. My children have been blessed by it. My family has been blessed by it, by the mission. You know, every time I'll tell you more about this, but every time we take action in this business, we're assisting a malnourished child or an at-risk child somewhere in the planet to be fed. Absolutely every step we take. And also the income. Now, I had sort of an altercation with a tick about 18 years ago, and it has impacted my ability to be full-time in my business in the way that I used to be. But my income has come every single month for over 20 years. So listen up if you're interested, if you're praying, if you know someone's praying for solution, this is education. So it's not, I was mentioning Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. One of the things I learned from them was that you need to really understand how your income comes in. You know, I was raised, you know, in a very good family. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She had made a real career of it, and she was professional, real professional. And my dad was in a job. I was raised to be either a nurse or a teacher. So when I got married, I had always a career between children that I could go anywhere with my husband. Quick fact check here, I never got married. So that wasn't a very good solution for me. And it's definitely not a modern day solution today, is it? And so when I met Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, and I learned that education and learned about different streams of income, I learned about residual income. I learned about the way cash flows, and I learned about my thinking. And he, I don't know if he invented it, but I think he was the first to educate on this, something called the cash flow quadrant. And ultimately, you can see on here, there's an ESBI. I won't go into this in depth, but on the left side of the quadrant are employees, which is obvious, and those who are self-employed. So very small business, like maybe 1 or 2 employees, but ultimately they're like lawyers, doctors, things like that. And on the right-hand side of the quadrant are people who are business owners, and we're talking big business, where you could walk away from the income from the business for a year and it would sustain on its own. Oh, and investors. Now, what's interesting about this picture, there's a few things. You can see on the left-hand side of the quadrant, employees and self-employees. It's 90% of people who are doing that, and they're controlling only 10% of the wealth. And the opposite is true on the right-hand side. So, I mean, I think we've never seen more of a discrepancy between the rich and the poor right now on planet Earth. But this is, you know, Robert Kiyosaki has been talking about this for 20 some years. You know, 90% of the wealth is on the right-hand side of this quadrant, controlled by people in big business and those investing in big amounts of money. But you can learn from the rich, and you can learn from the principles of that. And that's taking advantage of compounding and leveraged income. And that's what we're part of the conversation today. I'd also want to highlight that I think many of us would know someone or have been present with someone who's needed extra income into their household for whatever reason. And so they're looking for what's very popular term today, something called a side gig or side income. So you can see there we've highlighted Uber, Airbnb, Amazon. There's courses out there for Amazon and how to make your own business. There's Airbnb and Uber, and you know, not to dismiss those, but they're in trouble right now. If someone's household financial stability was depending on a bit of extra money coming through Airbnb or Uber, they're pretty shut down at the moment. And there's also, you know, but not that anything's safe. You know, what we're talking about here is a network marketed or a word of mouth marketing business that you can do from home at very low investment. But some of those industries are having trouble too if they depended on having party plans, or, you know, I've got some good friends in a travel network marketing business that was very lucrative for them and their passion. They love traveling the world. They're definitely in trouble right now, aren't they? And so I'm not trying to, you know, boast, but I think wellness is pretty universal and we'll always need it. And I'm really grateful so far that we've been able to manage our supply chains and ensure that we have not only our customers well serviced, but we also have a business that's thriving. The quote from Warren Buffett on this slide is important. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. Now, again, we're not negative about working. If you love it and it's fulfilling you and it's fulfilling your mission, fantastic. If not, then there's solutions out there. So one of the things also to understand from that I think sometimes we sort of don't focus on in Western society, or maybe don't have a lot of education or understanding, is the difference between good debt and bad debt. So positive compounding and negative compounding. So if you've got an asset, it's positively making money sitting, sometimes without your efforts. Whereas a negative compounding, we know most of us, or some of us know very well. If you've ever had a credit card, the interest goes up. If you've had a line of credit, I know I've had investment properties at times. So you need to understand the difference between positive compounding and negative compounding. And as a result of that, think about what can build you an asset. So the benefit of leverage income. So say you just had an extra amount of money coming into your house of $500 to $700 a month. That equivalence in savings is $100,000 at 5%. So in order to earn $500 to $700 a month, you would need to have $100,000 in the bank at 5%, which is not available today. But that's, it's not a lot, is it? $500 to $700 a month. But what if that supported you with a car payment or school fees or family holiday, or, gee, I really like to keep my wardrobe up to date, and that's just not in the budget right now. And then also, what about $1,000 a month? If 1,000, think of how many people today whose life were completely stabilized or turned around if they had an extra $1,000 coming into their month. There are some statistics saying that it's only $500 extra a month that would solve most bankruptcies, or would turn around many people becoming insolvent. So we're not trying to minimize the power of this. This is really important, and everyday people can access this. So $1,000 a month is the equivalent of $200,000 in asset. That's a mortgage payment for some people, or half a mortgage payment. So this is what we're talking about, the ability that everyday people like myself and yourself, some of you I'm sure on this are smarter than me, but you don't have to be. Basically we're here to have passion, to share a service or an opportunity with people, and do that. It's sort of who did I interview recently? Dr. Hines, and talked about having buying groups, so equivalent to Costco, so to speak, that where we're joining together and we have a common decision that we like this technology, and we buy in groups, and that allows us to build in a compounding way. So if you're evaluating, if this is making sense to you, and you're evaluating, well, what should I do as a side gig or extra income, or maybe my career is kind of not going to recover after this, you need to take a look at and do some market research. So a home business is absolutely affordable. It's global. It's you can look at, I've got an unstable internet, apologize if you can't hear me. So some of these stats, people don't realize how secure and how big this market is of home business, especially in direct sales. 100 people involved. These stats are a few years old. They'll be actually business is booming this year from the stats I've seen. US dollars 182 billion in annual sales. And Australia, 20% of the natural healthcare market is from direct selling. So you have to do your due diligence. You have to review. But if you're going to choose a business or choose a way to make extra money, you want to choose a market that's expanding. Well, I think, the expansion in people wanting to maintain wellness in a natural way is outstanding. I'm so happy that that is a movement that's growing. It's really important because we're not getting that education in the doctor's office right now unless you're going to an integrated practitioner. And that's just not available to everybody. But there's so much power that we can all take back in for wellness into our own hands. And that's a message that needs to get out of there. You match that with the ability to take your financial security into your own hands and to be proud about a mission. It's sort of a match made in heaven, in my opinion. And you know what? In particular, I'm recommending Manitech today. The closer you look at us, the better we look. You can tell I'm passionate about this, but I've got 22 years of depending my health and wellness on this technology. I've got 22 years 20 plus years of expecting my income to come every month without fail, there's never been a downside. So this is a snapshot of our broad technology. There's something in this for everyone. We have, and I think I would like to focus on our core technology, which is our flagship technology, the nutritional glycans. Now, these are plant-sourced nutrients. There's all kind of education on this, but in a snapshot, it's the world's #1 best aloe vera product. It's got a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you take this and you try it, and I actually don't recommend you take this product without education, without partnering. You don't have to do hours and hours, but really understand the concept of building the terrain of your body. Because if you start getting the terrain of your body solid, healthy, with the nutrients it needs to maintain homeostasis, balance, and well-being, then you start to bring the power of your wellness into your hands, and nobody else can impact that. And the other thing I'd like to say about our aloe technology is that it's probably arguably the first supplement everybody should take. It's an investment, yes, but it's the best investment I've ever found. I really believed that I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't learned this concept of using nutrition to base my foundational cellular well-being. And the health of our cells is what makes a whole healthy being. The other thing about this from a business perspective is this is exclusive. We have scientifically proven the world's best aloe vera and Ace Mannan. You start searching on Ace Mannan and its benefits, and you want to get the best source. So we're also a company with experience. We're now 26 years old, or founded in 1994. I think we're in 27 markets now, and we've got multiple patents. I think it's over 120 now. This graphic is outdated. We're a top public company in Dallas, Texas. We've got millions and millions invested in research and development. And I think the important thing about that point is that we don't have to. Dietary supplements do not need the highest level double-blinded studies that we have produced, but we're committed to science. We're a science company first. If you go back to the beginning of our foundation, it was scientists that were unable to develop a drug because it couldn't kill anybody. And we're at the very core a science company. We're publicly traded, which means it's transparent. And our quality assurance, and aside from what I've already said about our science, our quality assurance means that what you're seeing on the label is what you're getting in our product. And sadly, and most frighteningly, so the word is it very scarily, is that sort of word either? Tragically, that's not necessary. They don't have to prove that's what on the label's in the bottle. Then there's so many tricks they can get around labeling in regards to ingredients, and not to mention the purity. So the impurities of our world are removed from these nutrients before they're packaged and delivered to us so that we can nourish ourselves. That's awesome. So the topic of the day is how to make money. So it is complex. This could look complex, but like what Dr. Hines said a few weeks ago about buying groups, ultimately you say, right, this makes sense to me. I'm going to educate. I'm going to give it 5 years. I want to make a home business with a full-time income. Or, yeah, this makes sense to me. I love what I do, but I need an extra $1,000 a month. It would just take such stress off. Or I'd like to do a family holiday. I just love to treat my family on a holiday. If I could get an extra $1,000 a month, that would give us a chance to get away every year, and we haven't been away for a while. Whatever your wish or desire is, you can do this. The investment is next to nothing. The overheads are probably $200 a month, plus hopefully you've got internet and other things. And you start by choosing the technology, the wellness technology yourself, and committing to it, and committing to learning about it, and then helping others to do the same. Now, this first level, step one, is creating a business unit. There's been some slight tweaks to this in enhancements in the last, starting this month, last week. So this figures could be slightly a little bit different, but they're actually better, slightly a little bit better, and it's slightly simpler to explain. So as simple as it is your first job is, as a business, somebody wants to earn income, is to get started on the technology yourself, put in a monthly order, and aim for 5 people to do the same. That's going to bring you your first bonus, which is the power seller bonus. Once you've got 5 people ordering every month in your business pod or your business unit, that's giving you 15% on the what's called a PPV. So it's a percentage of their investment, of their expenditure. In the US, some of the slides right now are 1 for 1, because in the US, the PPV is 1 for 1 with the dollar. In Australia, it's a little bit different. It's more 70 to 80% because of the margins here, but it's still very, it's a fantastic amount that you get on that first step, and that's very achievable. The next thing is, and to keep it simple, you just find 2 people who want to partner for business and help them do the same. So you're helping them get started, understand what they need to do, help them commit for 5 years, depending on what their income goal is, helping them commit consistency and learning skills and committing to training, coming to, every Saturday morning call, either live or in the recording. That's what brings you to success. And as you can see, each time you're just helping 2 more people do what you've already done. So it's simple, simple, simple. You can also see by about step 3, you were getting to that asset income that we talked about a few slides ago, where you'd need $100,000 in the bank to get to that $300 to $400 a month. So now in that very short period of time, you've helped 5 people, and the next you've helped 2 people help 5 people, and you've helped 2 more do the same. So you're running around 30 to 50 people. Like, these are just approximates, and they're very unique in each business, to be frank. That's already asset income right there. For those that want more, then the steps are exactly the same. It's not complex. It's not easy, because we're human, right? And we all come into this with different skills and backgrounds and mindsets and fears and, fears of our weaknesses and fears of doing new things, whatever. If you commit to overcoming those, this is the steps, and they do work. So, and this sounds like a big claim, the compounding effect gives the power of the rich to ordinary people. But because you're creating customers for life with our technology, once you really commit to this and get a feeling of well-being out of this, why would you ever want to stop? It's the only solution today with food going downhill in nutrient quality. We have to be proactive if we want to maintain a long and healthy life, or as healthy as we can be with whatever our genetic picture is. It's really crucial. So in here, you can see, as an ordinary, everyday person with some passion and commitment and willingness, you can get to asset income. So once you're at that 300 coming in every month, you've got the equivalent of having saved $100,000. Now, how many people could do that today in today's age? So it's not an exaggeration saying that we're giving that power of the rich to everyday people with this concept. I also need to say that the steps for earning income are different for all of us. All those figures you would have seen are hypotheticals, because, for instance, you could have 5 customers ordering $500, or you could have 5 customers ordering $50. The point is, you need 5. There's a lot of variables in individual orders, the same as any business. Someone will come into a hamburger shop and order a whole family order, and some will just order 1. So you need to understand, but we're giving you the picture of what you can do and the picture of your goal. If your goal was to have 5 people at 500, you can do that, and the income would be appropriately higher based on that cash flow. So this disclaimer is required by law, but it's also the truth. I could have done more if I had more self-confidence and believed in myself at times in my career with Mannatech. Or I could have done, I got sidelined during 3 years of having 3 kids under 3. That was a bit tough for doing both, but it never stopped. It's like a plant. If you water, it grows. If you don't, hopefully it'll be okay. Sometimes they die, but my plant has kept going for 20 some years, no matter what's happened in my life. So the great news is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So there's events, there's extensive training, there's tools that are available to us. There's a website that's all handled for us. All the distribution, all the hard stuff of a business is handled by the corporate company. And we partner with them to get the message out in the field to help people who are looking for what we have for a solution in their life. The real amazing thing is that we are partnered with a company, a charity called M5M Foundation. And our mission with that charity is Mission 5 million. So that vary a little bit, but approximately 5 million children die every year of malnutrition. And our goal is to reach out to that many children. So right now, this is again an outdated number. I think it's at 120 servings per day now, but don't quote me on that. You can go to m5mfoundation.org. And every single time you partner with us today and you put it in order, a child gets fed for a month somewhere in the world. Same thing for anybody you bring into your business or any customers you bring into your business pod. That volume going through your business is helping us with the M5M mission of feeding malnourished children around the world. So does this work? Absolutely it does. You know, you don't have to, it's about whether you work. Can you work? Absolutely. Anybody. I've seen people come from very modest careers to superstars in this industry, all the way through from people who are very successful who embrace it and do the same. If you have a modest background and you need to learn some self-confidence, might you need to work a little harder and do a bit more personal growth and learn some new skills? Absolutely. Would you go into a new job tomorrow without knowing that you thinking that you knew everything from day one? Probably not. Anything we choose to do new, we're going to have to educate ourselves, learn some new skills, and to empower yourself and put this kind of power into your hands is priceless. So it doesn't matter if you look at this slide, it does not matter what your goal is, why you choose us, why you choose what you want, what's missing for you. It doesn't matter whether you want holidays, time with your family, whether we have people joining us who have lots of money, but they want another gig or they want to give back or they're unhappy that, you know, that mission 5 million just calls to them in their heart. And you know, the potential is for those that really go for it is complete financial freedom with residual income. And you can eventually get to walk-away income. There are people that do that. That may not be your goal, but that's possible if that's your dream. So the next step for you is to really consider this. You know, talk to the person who invited you to this education. What makes sense to you? Do you see that you want to be a partner with this and that you want to make part-time or moderate income or full-time income? Or, you know what, I'm pretty happy with what I'm right now. I'm glad I've learned about that because that safety net business could be really handy in this day and age. But that technology makes sense to that. I'd really like to, you know, take control of my wellness, take the power into my own hands and, you know, have the best possible wellness within my physical picture now. Or, you know what, it's not right time for me right now. Thank you so much for, you know, taking the time to share this with me. But I actually do know someone. And if I ever run across people other than that person, I'll make sure to let them know about you and what you have to offer. So there is no downside. Get started today with what's right for you. This slide is near and dear to my heart. You know, this is the way that we can own our future. And even if you get started and you only get part of your goals, what if you got that 300 to 500 asset income? Just think of what you could do with that. I really like Richard Branson's visionary thinking. And this sings to me this: if something offers you an amazing, or someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and how to learn it later. So there's all the education. We walk hand in hand with you, step by step. And all the things on here is true. You can give back, you can have your time back, you can be with your family, you can have absolute freedom. And, you know, I'm very purpose driven. I'm passionate about wellness. I'm passionate about this financial education. I'm passionate about our M5M foundation, sort of hijacked to the Lyme Disease Association, a charity that I'm also passionate about at the moment, but I'll be back full time in Manotick because it's worthy and it deserves us. So, and the world is praying for us. So I know I'm going to hand back to Diana. I think she wanted to finish off with something local.
Thank you, Sharon. I've thoroughly enjoyed your delivery of the vision and offering that Manotick has, either for people's well-being or for people's physical well-being or financial well-being. And I'm sure each and every one of you on the call has received tremendous value from Sharon's presentation. Something I wanted to highlight just quickly before you pop away is one of the things Sharon mentioned there was the tremendous education that's provided free as part of our business structure. And Jenny Messenger, who's the leader of our organisation here in Australasia, She's just such an intelligent, strategic, and supportive businesswoman to our whole community. And within this, our social restriction, she's still offering our associate trainings. And we've got the AIM AIM training coming up on Saturday the 23rd through the Zoom webinar format, Saturday the 23rd throughout Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, ACT, Queensland, South Australia, Singapore, Western Australia and New Zealand. I'll put the link to the registration. You need to register for that event. So if you copy and paste that link from the chat there, that'll take you to the registration. And you can put your name down and make sure you've got your front row seats. That is on a Saturday. So I'm not sure. We do have a speaker that day. So I'm guessing that'll go ahead and then it'll be backed up by this several hour AIM associate training. So if you're serious about, you know, delivering the message of our lifestyle and receiving the benefits of that for yourself, then make sure you register for that event and join us there with your heart in the game. So with that, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Thank you for supporting our Saturday morning calls. We'll be back next week with Dr. Steve Nugent, I believe. And yes. We put our bid in for him to do a focus on how we deal with the toxicity in our world and what Manatech has to support us in maintaining a healthy body within the toxic world that we're living in. And I know we've got some key technologies for that. So you'll hear all about that next Saturday. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful Saturday, and we'll see you again next week.